everyone. My name is William McCurdy II, Commissioner representing District D, and it is my honor to welcome you all to the Clark County Commission Chambers. Every other Tuesday, the Commissioner and I, we sit up here and we do the business of Clark County. She is our chairwoman, and we are honored to have you with us today. As many of you know, having your finances in order is extremely important. The pathway from poverty is through financial literacy. So we must make sure that we take control of our own individual agency to do as much as we can to be educated about finances, how to improve our credit, and furthermore, how to improve the quality of life for not only ourselves, our family. So I'm going to turn it back over to our chairwoman, Commissioner Kirkpatrick.
Thank you for coming, and those who are streaming live, thanks for joining us. As the name suggests, Credit Repair today is a credit repair company. We specialize in preparing credit for loan qualification, home loan qualification. To tell a little bit of background about how Credit Repair today started, I opened it in 2009 when the economy crisis first happened and banks were closing, mortgage companies were closing down left and right. Credit repair became in a high demand. So we essentially started with just referrals from mortgage companies and banks to help them get ready for loan qualification. And fast forwarding to today, we have 8 brick and mortar locations, including one here in Las Vegas, and we're able to help anybody in the United States. We offer a free initial consultation to go over anyone's credit report and analyze it. So I'm going to talk about what makes up a credit score and what is a credit score. Caleb touched a little bit on it, but I'm going to start by just going over what the credit score numbers are. So credit score is a number that could determine a lot of things. If you get a loan, qualified for a house, an auto, even to rent a place, you need a credit score. Between 350 and 7 or 850 is a credit scores that they range from. Poor credit is anywhere pretty much below 580. It's hard to get qualified for anything below a 580. Even sometimes it's hard to get even a rental property. Now, the excellent credit that you could have is anything over like 800s. I would say you get the best interest rates, and that's what everyone wants to strive for. But there's some factors that make up that score, and we're going to go over it now. So next slide. So there's a few different credit scoring, credit monitorings out there. I think Caleb touched a little bit on it, but FICO score is what the mortgage companies and banks mostly use. FICO is actually the maker of the credit scores, and they have the most accurate information. The difference between this one and like Vantage score system, which is like your Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, is they're about 30 points difference is what I normally see. And the Vantage score systems, they're not a hard inquiry. So that's the main thing why people use the Vantage score systems, is they don't want to hurt their credit by having a hard inquiry and having a bank pull it to see which actual FICO number is. So that's a little bit of the difference between the two different scoring systems that we see. Next slide. So credit scores go hand in hand with interest rates. As we just seen, interest rates could be extremely high on a mortgage that you're paying for 30 years if you have a really low credit score. So any scores below 520, I would say, have some credit issues, not very likely they're going to be approved for any loan. When you get over 620, that's when you could actually start getting approved for some loans, but it's going to be at a higher interest rate. And we're talking like 5% to 30% interest rates difference, which over time we've seen that could be from $70,000 to $200,000 you're paying in interest just because of the credit score. So that's the main reason why it's important to get a high credit score to get those interest rates. Next slide. Now, I just went over this slide, but I'm going to break it down in a little bit more detail of what makes up the credit score. So the 35% is the biggest portion. This is your payment history, how you pay things on time. This only counts for open accounts on your credit. For instance, auto loans, mortgages, credit cards. installment loans. And one late payment could be dramatic to somebody. Let's say, for instance, it has just one open account. One open account being late could cost you around 100 points or more because it's the only open history that your credit score is reporting your payments on. I've seen one late payment dramatically drop someone's credit score even closer to 200 points because they had nothing else on the report. One thing I want to say about payment history and late payments, it's one of the hardest things to remove from the credit report because it's accurate, number one. Number two, when it comes to late payments, you're asking for forgiveness pretty much to remove it. And anything within 12 months, one late payment will cost you getting qualified for a mortgage. Mortgage lenders won't qualify you if you have one late payment within 12 months. So this is a big factor here. Definitely practicing on-time payments is the number one key to good credit. 30%, this is amounts owed on credit cards. Only credit cards that have credit limits. This number gets confused a little bit with other debts that you have, collections and whatnot, but it's actually the debt that's on your credit card balances compared to your available credit. So anytime you're maxed out, it could be around 100 points off your score, again, if it's just one credit card you have open. It's also hard to get credit limit increases and continue to build your credit if you continuously have maxed out credit cards. You could have perfect paying history, not one late payment, and have a maxed out credit card, and that could be a big disqualifying factor from a mortgage, auto loan, anything that requires a decent credit score. 15% is credit history. This is the big part too. This is the years that your accounts have been open, and it goes off an average. So this number is calculated by basically how many accounts you have open, divided by the years of them combined. So that's how you get that number. Anything under 2 years is considered really low, and you're likely to have around 500 credit scores, I would say, or less if you don't have strong credit over 2 years. 3 to 4 years is considered okay. You're getting up there. Anything over 7 years is excellent. And we'll touch a little bit more on how you could accomplish some trick ways to get those years of history next. So credit report details inquiries is another percent. That's 10% of your credit score is just the hard inquiries. So as I was saying, some of the credit monitorings, they're not hard inquiries because you're not applying for anything. The moment you apply for example, an auto loan, it drops your credit score if you're applying multiple times within a 30-day period. Typically, anything over 5 inquiries within a month could affect your credit score dramatically. I would say 3 to 5 points each pull after that 5. Now, one thing about the inquiries that many don't know is they come off after a certain amount of time, and they don't affect your credit score after some time as well. Anything that's immediately within 60 days will hurt this credit score after that time. You tend to get those points back. The next thing is the number of accounts that you have open. Some people say that it's good to have less accounts. Well, actually that's not correct. Having more open accounts is what banks like to see because they could see that you can manage multiple accounts, paying them on time, and that's what that chart is there. Anything over 11 accounts is actually considered the strongest history. 5 to 7, I would say, is going to get you close to 800 credit score if everything else is good factors. Next slide. So the payment history, we spoke a little bit about how late payments could affect you. Collections could affect the same way. One collection normally could cost you around 35 points, to 100 points, depending on the balances and how new it is. They also stay on there for an amount of years. Typically, in this per state, it varies what the statute of limitation is for those, but Nevada, it's 6 years. Typically, for collections that stay on the report. Now, for the credit repair part, we help with collections, we help do settlements. A lot of people get real intimidated when it comes to debt. They don't know how to approach it. So that's one thing that we do is help with settlements. Sometimes it's better to just get on the phone, make the call to collection agency, and get into some type of payment plan. And then once it's in a payment plan, it could be repaired after that. So that's a little bit of how the negative things could affect your scores. Bankruptcies and obviously other things like public records would hurt your scores as well. And they tend to have a longer statute of limitation that they stay on your credit report. Up to 10 years could be statute of limitation on those ones. So that's the payment history. And next slide. So the length of history, this is the 15% we're talking about of your credit score. And anything under 2 years, as you see there, it's in the red. It's not considered to be good history. Anything 4 years, it's okay. 7 years is best. Now, one thing that's a trick that people don't know is you could actually be added as an authorized user or add your children as an authorized user to an existing credit card. You don't have to give them access to it. You never have to let them use it. But instead of co-signing for junior to get that vehicle, and depending on to make the on-time payments, piggybacking authorized user have been more popular these days for the parents just simply call the number on the back of the credit card, add junior as an authorized user. They'll ask, would you like us to issue junior a card? The parent could simply say no. But if they have the credit card, for example, 10 years, on-time payments, they keep the balance low. When it reports to junior's credit report, who has no credit, it'll automatically raise their credit score to 700s, 780s. I know this, for example, because I did it for my nephew, for one of my cards. Automatically went up to 780. He was able to get his own credit cards to maintain his credit. Then I just called the number, removed him as an authorized user. So that's one trick way to get the length of history, because it obviously, for open accounts, however long you have them open is how long you have them open. You can't do anything but just keep them open as long as you can. But there are some trick ways to get some better interest rates faster. And that's the length of history. Next slide. So we talked about this one a lot, the amounts owed on credit card debt. Anything over 30% of the credit card limit is considered to hurt your credit score. I've seen credit cards get maxed out and drop the scores dramatically, but even if it's just like a penny over 50%, that could be around 50 points off their credit score. Maxed out, that could be 100 points off their credit score. But if you practice keeping the balances below 30% or paying them off every month, that's the real way that we're supposed to use credit cards, is to use them, pay them off every month to show your good credit worthiness and payment history. The confusion with credit cards is, when we first go to college, we're offered credit cards, student loans. People aren't really getting explained to them that if you max it out, you're hurting your credit. As a college student, you see you have a $5,000 credit limit, it's available for you to use it, so you just automatically max it out. So those are some things that people don't know just by, maybe someone sitting here today could just pay their credit card down a little bit, raise their score 50 points possibly. And those are things that we look at too for the free consultation, anything you could do on your own to raise your score immediately. So that's the utilized credit and why it's so important. It's 30% of your score. It makes a difference between a 600 credit score and an 800 credit score by maxed out cards and perfect paying history. Next slide. So a lot of you are probably thinking where to get a credit report from, how do you know your history? That's my website there. We offer them for $1 on a debit or credit card. It gives you all 3 credit bureaus, all 3 credit scores. It's printable. You could have a copy. It's not a hard inquiry because this is the Vantage score system. Now, the main difference is the points are about 30 points different than the FICO score. But there are tools you could get your FICO credit score for free as well. Most credit card companies offer this. Your online banking, Wells Fargo's, Bank of America, they offer the FICO score once a month for free. And that's, again, the same number that the bank's going to look at when you're looking at a mortgage, for example. So, as I mentioned, we do operate throughout the U.S. We offer a free consultation for anybody that needs it to point you in the right direction with your credit. We do everything from settlements, disputes, FCRA disputes, trade line rentals, and Chapter 7 bankruptcy preparation. We also do paralegal services. If you get a summons or something, someone's trying to sue you for a debt, our paralegals reply to those for you as well. So those are some of the services that we offer, and a little bit about credit, how it works. Hope that it was helpful for you guys. I'm sure we'll answer some questions at the end. Okay, thank you.